Ted Cruz says Joe Biden campaigned on dismantling the southern border. And Ted Cruz is 1,000% correct. That's exactly what he campaigned on. He said he would come in on day one. He said, I'll come in on day one and I will roll back Donald Trump policies. And that's exactly what he did. And Ted Cruz alludes to this. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store. Also, check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for news as well. All right, let's talk about this news. Now, this comes from Town Hall, Sarah Arnold. And she reported that Republican Senator Ted Cruz revealed the one thing President Joe Biden delivered on regarding the promises he made while on the campaign trail. And that is destroying the U.S. southern border and implementing far-left anti-American policies. Cruz made the comments during a podcast episode discussing what he saw at the U.S.-Mexico border after visiting it with former President Trump earlier this week. He said that Joe Biden campaigned on open borders. He campaigned on saying, I will not deport people. I will not enforce our laws. And as president, that may be the only campaign promise he honored. If you look at what is happening at the end of the day, you cannot defend what is happening on our border. When you look at kids in the eyes, if you have a shred of humanity, it horrifies you. And understand, why does Joe Biden not go to the border? Because he didn't want to see them. On this trip to Brownsville, did he see a single child who was sexually abused? No. Did he see a woman who was violently raped? No. Did he see the families of the victims of those who had died of drug overdose? So I'm going to go ahead and play this here. This is from his podcast.
Senator, there was a shocking just parallel really between the guts of Donald Trump to go see what's really happening at the border and Joe Biden, yet again, the White House basically whitewashing anything bad that happens at the border so he doesn't have to see it. Fox News brought this up and compared where the two men were going and just how different the two spots were between Brownsville Station, and that's where Biden went, and compared it to Donald Trump, where 511 illegal immigrants were encountered at the Eagle Pass Station on Monday. Here's how Fox put it together.
Customs and Border Protection sources told Fox News that nearly 5,000 illegals were apprehended along the southern border from California through Texas in a single day on Monday. The Eagle Pass Station in the Del Rio sector, where Trump is headed, in Brownsville, Texas, reported 511 apprehensions on Monday. Brownsville Station in the Rio Grande Valley sector, where President Biden will be, only 12 were reported. Texas's lieutenant governor is going after Biden's, location.
He doesn't care. This is all about the politics of the future. They want millions to come here, become citizens, then voters, so they can control the country. And they don't care. It's obvious they don't care who dies to meet those goals.
Senator, you've been to the border a lot. What's the point of going to the border if you're actually not going to see what the problem is at the southern border? And this is another example of this administration whitewashing anything that may look bad. They did this when they went to San Francisco. They did it last time they went to the border. It's a joke. They're not trying to fix this problem or even see it.
Well, this has been a pattern throughout the Biden presidency. He's been to the border twice as president. He went previously to El Paso. El Paso was facing a crisis, a massive influx of illegal immigrants. When Joe Biden came, they cleaned it up entirely. They pulled every illegal immigrant out of the way so that he didn't encounter them. The Biden White House said after his trip to El Paso that Joe Biden had not seen even a single illegal immigrant. And you're right, that is reminiscent of what happened when President Xi from China came to San Francisco.
Yep.
Now, San Francisco, the Democrats there have allowed their city to just go into crap. They've allowed drug users, they've allowed homeless people.
And that's true. And remember when Xi Jinping, the dear leader Xi Jinping came to San Francisco, they cleaned that homelessness up quick. And people asked Newsom, like, why did y'all clean it up now? And he was like, of course, if you got company coming over, of course you're going to clean up a little bit, Like, so you saying you could have been done this, but you wait until our dear leader Xi Jinping comes into town to do so? And this is the hypocrisy that you see all the time from the left. You see it all the time.
Well, they allowed criminals to just take over downtown San Francisco. They've allowed people to literally be defecating on public streets. And for a long time, the elected Democrats in San Francisco told the residents there's nothing we can do. I'm sorry, this is our city. You have to deal with the defecation of these vagrants because we are powerless. And then the president of China, President Xi, came to San Francisco. And suddenly those same Democrat officials who were powerless to do anything to protect the residents of the city cleaned up the entire city. They got rid of all the homeless people. They got rid of all the criminals. They got rid of all the vagrants. They cleaned the crap off the streets, quite literally. And I'm not saying crap in the sort of generic term of stuff. I mean literally human defecation. They cleaned it up. They made it spotless. And I got to say, Ben, by the way, just as an aside, if you're a San Francisco resident, let's assume you're like a lefty Democrat, because, if you live in San Francisco, you probably are a lefty Democrat. Is there not a tiny voice in the back of your head that says, wait a second, like, I live here, my spouse lives here, my kids live here. Why are my children not important enough to clean up the public parks? Why are my children not important enough to not have them walk down the sidewalk without tripping over a hypodermic needle?
That is a great question. You would think people would want better for their own kids at bare minimum. And they're allowing this to happen in their streets. They're allowing the defecation on the streets. They're allowing the crime and all of these things to happen. Don't they care about their own children there in San Francisco? You would think they would, but by their actions, you're seeing that they really don't care. They're just allowing this stuff to happen to their cities.
Why are my children not important enough to not see human defecation on the streets? Why does it take the president of China to do that? Well, the same thing is true when Joe Biden goes to the border. When he goes to El Paso, it's miraculously cleaned up. And, when he went today to Brownsville, miraculously, the suffering, the dead bodies, the people who are facing misery, the children who have been brutalized, the women who have been sexually assaulted, they all disappear. Understand, this White House, when it approaches border security, when it approaches foreign policy, when it approaches national security, everything is about domestic politics. And so today was a photo op to demonstrate Joe Biden is here, and nobody is suffering because of his disastrous open border policies.
That's true. That's exactly what happened. He went to town, they cleaned it up, and look, everything's good. Everything's great. The border is not wide open. There's no kids being abused, no trafficking going on here, no drugs. Everything is perfect. And that's exactly what's going on here. And then as soon as he leaves, it's going to kick back up. But the thing is, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I don't know why. People are not that dumb. People have to live there. People still have to go and buy their groceries there. So they can try to pretend like his terrible policies is not hurting. They can pretend, but people live it every day. So you can lie to the people. That's not going to make them vote for you because they have to live with your policies. We live in it every day.
Let's go back to 2021 when Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said this about what they were doing to undo what Donald Trump had done at the border. Listen carefully to his words, and then we're going to compare it now to what the White House is saying about their excuses for not securing the southern border.
And I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to list them.
That is back in September the 23rd of 2021. They were admitting then, Mayorkas was admitting, we did basically the complete 180 of anything that Donald Trump did to secure the border through executive action. We rescinded so many Trump immigration policies it would take too much time to list them. That's what he said on MSNBC. Yet now, the president lied today and yesterday when he was asked about securing the border, saying, I don't have the power to do anything unless Congress comes up with a bill. He could just go back and implement everything Donald Trump did, and this would change overnight.
That's the exact same point I've been making for weeks upon weeks, ever since Biden had been forced to speak on the border and admit that it is a crisis. And he's been saying that, well, it's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. Ever since he's been saying that, I've been talking about how it is his fault and how he rolled back all of the Trump policies that were actually protecting the border. And he bragged about it. We have him on video bragging about it, but yet he's saying that there's nothing he can do about it and it's not his fault. Like, you can't say these things in the age of the internet where we can literally pull up the video of you bragging about it. It's just like with the whole Burisma thing. Like, he pretending like that doesn't exist. Like, we can't pull up the video of him admitting that he extorted Ukraine and told him fire the prosecutor or we're not going to give you the $1 billion. We literally have you on video bragging about it, yet you acting like you didn't say it. Like, this is crazy.
And yet the media continues to allow them to get away with that lie as well.
Well, that's exactly right. But understand, the media is complicit in this lie. Listen, Joe Biden campaigned on open borders. He campaigned on saying, I will not deport people, I will not enforce our laws. And as president, that may be the only campaign promise he has honored. If you look at what is happening, at the end of the day, you cannot defend what is happening in our border. If you see what is happening, and I'm there frequently, I was there this weekend.
You can't defend it. That's why they pretend like it doesn't exist. That's the thing. They pretend like it's not a problem, and then when we show them that it is a problem, oh, well, I can't do anything about it. But you're the reason that this is happening. You can do something about it. Reinstate those policies that you dismantled in the first place.
5 days ago, I was down at the border. If you see the dead bodies that are piling up, the Biden body bags of migrants, last year 853 migrants died crossing illegally into this country. When I recently took 19 senators down to the border, I took them out on a boat on the Rio Grande River, and when we were out on a boat, we saw a dead body floating in the river, a man who presumably had drowned that day trying to cross illegally. That is happening every day. We're seeing roughly 3 bodies a day from people crossing illegally. When you look at the children, I got to tell you, Ben, when I go out on midnight patrol, and I've done this a lot, and you encounter groups of kids, there's nothing that makes me more physically sick. There's nothing that makes me want to vomit more than when I see 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old girls that have clearly been sexually assaulted, that are being sex trafficked, and that are facing a life of years of sex slavery. When you look at kids in the eyes, if you have a shred of humanity, it horrifies you. And understand, why does Joe Biden not go to the border? Because he doesn't want to see them. On this trip in Brownsville, did he see a single child who was sexually abused? No. Did he see a woman who was violently raped? No. Did he see the families of the victims of those who had died of drug overdoses? In the last year, more than 100,000 Americans have died of drug overdoses. 70% of that has been Chinese fentanyl coming across our southern border. Did Joe Biden listen to those moms, listen to those dads, listen to parents crying over the loss of their kids? No. This was a photo op that was sanitized. Lysol was used everywhere. It's like a Potemkin village. It's like a Hollywood set designed to say, we're at the border, nothing to see here, nobody suffering, nobody being raped, nobody being assaulted, nobody dying, and it is profoundly, profoundly dishonest.
Very dishonest. Wow. I couldn't have said it any better. Ted Cruz is right on with that. Y'all need to share this, get this information out there, and let everyone know that this border crisis is Biden's fault. No matter how he tried to ignore it, clean it up, sanitize it, and all of that, we live with it every day. We see it every day, and we know how his policies are hurting people. So share this out so we can get this out. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Also, let me know what you think. Let me know what y'all think about this. Until next time, peace.